The entertainment world was absolutely shattered last night when Chen Zheyuan made what is already being called the most shocking and romantic proposal in Chinese entertainment history by walking onto the stage during Zhao Lusi's solo concert, interrupting her mid-performance to get down on one knee with a ring, while she stood frozen in complete disbelief, and while 50,000 fans in attendance erupted into hysterical screaming that reportedly could be heard across the entire city. The footage that has now been viewed over 4 billion times shows Zhao Lusi's progression from confusion when Chen Zheyuan first appeared on her stage, to dawning recognition of what he was holding and what position he was taking, to visible shock and what appears to be genuine panic as she realized he was actually proposing marriage to her in front of the largest possible audience with no privacy or escape, and with every moment being captured on dozens of cameras and broadcast to millions watching online. The fact that Chen Zheyuan chose this extraordinarily public method of proposal rather than a private intimate moment suggests either remarkable confidence that she would say yes or concerning disregard for the pressure and potential embarrassment he was creating for her by forcing such a major life decision to occur in front of massive audience with no opportunity for private consideration or authentic emotional processing. Why would Chen Zheyuan believe that proposing during Zhao Lusi's concert would be romantic rather than potentially traumatic and manipulative? And does his choice to create a situation where she essentially cannot refuse without causing massive public spectacle and disappointing millions of fans constitute genuine romantic gesture, or emotional coercion through public pressure? According to various sources and relationship experts analyzing the incident, public proposals create inherent coercion because the person being proposed to faces enormous pressure to say yes regardless of their actual feelings, as refusing in front of witnesses feels cruel and creates embarrassment for the proposer that many people cannot bring themselves to inflict, even when saying yes is not what they truly want. The particularly extreme nature of Chen Zheyuan's concert proposal, with the audience being 50,000 screaming fans rather than just a restaurant full of strangers, amplifies this pressure to almost unbearable levels and raises serious ethical questions about whether such proposals should be celebrated as romantic or criticized as manipulative regardless of the outcome. The fan community response has been deeply divided between those celebrating the drama and romance of the public proposal, and those expressing concern about the pressure Zhao Lusi was put under and questioning whether she had any real choice given the circumstances. The detail that has observers rewatching the footage obsessively trying to understand Zhao Lusi's true feelings is that in the extended seconds between Chen Zheyuan presenting the ring and her eventual response, her face shows what many interpret as genuine distress rather than joyful surprise, with her eyes appearing to dart around as though looking for escape or help and her body language seeming frozen and uncomfortable rather than excited, only shifting to a smile and acceptance after the crowd screaming reaches absolutely deafening levels that perhaps made her feel she had no choice but to accept. This moment of visible internal conflict where Zhao Lusi appears to be struggling with what to do, rather than being immediately overjoyed, has become the most analyzed and controversial aspect of the entire incident, with body language experts and psychologists noting that her reactions are more consistent with someone feeling trapped and pressured than with someone receiving a wanted proposal. The shift in her demeanor from apparent distress to acceptance that occurs as the crowd noise reaches its peak has convinced many observers that she ultimately said yes because of the pressure and the impossibility of saying no in that context rather than because she genuinely wanted to marry Chen Zheyuan at that moment, raising disturbing questions about consent and autonomy in relationships when grand public gestures create situations where one person has all the power and the other has essentially no real choice. The concert where this stunning proposal occurred was a major event in Zhao Lusi's career, one of her first large-scale solo shows demonstrating her ability to command audience attention beyond her acting work and representing a personal professional triumph that should have been entirely about her accomplishment and artistry. The fact that Chen Zheyuan chose to insert himself into this moment and to essentially hijack her show to make it about their relationship and his proposal has been criticized by many observers as selfish and disrespectful to her achievement, turning what should have been her solo triumph into a relationship spectacle where she became supporting player in his dramatic gesture, rather than remaining the star of her own event. The specific moment when Chen Zheyuan appeared on stage was apparently during a transition between songs when Zhao Lusi was addressing the audience, meaning she was in vulnerable position of being focused on fan interaction rather than on performing, making it impossible for her to maintain professional performance mode, and forcing her to respond authentically in the moment rather than having the protection of being in character or in performer persona. The timing of his entrance to catch her in this vulnerable state, rather than waiting for a more neutral moment, has been noted as potentially strategic choice to maximize her emotional response and minimize her ability to maintain composure or control. The ring that Chen Zheyuan presented during the proposal was apparently a substantial and expensive piece featuring a large diamond in an elaborate setting, with the size and ostentation of the ring creating additional pressure on Zhao Lusi by demonstrating significant financial investment that would be insulting to refuse and that created spectacle that the crowd could see and react to even from distant seats. The choice of such a prominent visible ring rather than something more subtle suggests the proposal was designed at least partially for audience impact rather than purely for the intimate moment between the two people actually involved. The crowd reaction during the proposal was immediate pandemonium, with fans screaming at volumes that overwhelmed the venue's sound system, and that made it impossible for Zhao Lusi and Chen Zheyuan to hear each other speak without shouting, forcing all communication to occur through gestures and expressions rather than through actual conversation about such a major life decision. The deafening noise created by 50,000 people simultaneously losing control meant that whatever Zhao Lusi might have wanted to say to Chen Zheyuan or whatever questions she might have had about the proposal were essentially impossible to voice, with the crowd effectively forcing the situation to its conclusion through sheer volume. The social media response to the proposal has been massive but notably divided, with initial posts being predominantly celebratory and romantic, before a backlash developed from observers questioning the ethics and appropriateness of such public pressure tactics in what should be intimate personal decision. The hashtags celebrating the engagement have been competing with hashtags expressing concern for Zhao Lusi and criticizing public proposals as manipulative, creating unusual situation where what would normally be universally celebrated romantic moment has instead become controversial and polarizing. The immediate aftermath of the proposal as shown in various footage angles captured Zhao Lusi and Chen Zheyuan in embrace while confetti apparently pre-planned for this moment fell around them, with her face being partially hidden by his shoulder making it difficult to assess her genuine emotional state in the moments after accepting. The fact that celebration elements like confetti had been arranged in advance demonstrates that Chen Zheyuan had coordinated with concert production staff to facilitate the proposal regardless of her answer, essentially ensuring that the spectacle would play out as planned with no contingency for refusal. In conclusion, Chen Zheyuan's shocking decision to propose marriage to Zhao Lusi during her sold-out concert by walking onto her stage and getting down on one knee in front of 50,000 screaming fans has created one of the most controversial and debated moments in Chinese entertainment history, with observers divided between viewing it as ultimate romantic gesture and criticizing it as manipulative public pressure tactic that essentially coerced Zhao Lusi into accepting through impossibility of saying no in front of massive audience without devastating public humiliation for both herself and Chen Zheyuan. The visible discomfort and apparent distress on Zhao Lusi's face before she ultimately accepted has convinced many viewers that this was not the joyful wanted proposal that public engagements are supposed to represent but rather an uncomfortable situation where she felt trapped by circumstances and by the pressure of the moment into agreeing to something she might not have chosen in private context where she had genuine freedom to consider and respond authentically without audience forcing specific outcome through their expectation and excitement.